Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for yet another match of the Commonwealth Games 7. This one, Samoa taking on Sri Lanka. Now, Samoa, if they win this game, they will be sitting at the top of the pool up until New Zealand play England. But Va'a Pilomaleko in the starting lineup, Yuna Sione, Moto Opitai, Purcell, Letufea, Fulaniko, and Paul Scanlon in that starting lineup. Then for the Sri Lankans, some very talented players. Ratwate was actually the man who scored up against New Zealand not too long ago, and it was brilliant to see Sri Lanka really coming up through the rankings in the sevens as well. And plus 50, says Dean. Oh, it's going to be close, I think. Around that 50 mark, I can't say either way, though, because Sri Lanka, they played pretty well up against England, whereas in their game up against New Zealand, they also did pretty decently, but it was more than the 50 points that you did just mention. One moment, we did sneeze right at the end of the last live stream, so before this one gets underway, I will quickly go like this. And we are all good to go. The countdown has finished, and Sri Lanka get us underway. It was the skipper kicking off. A little bit of a handling error from Letufea there. And I do see that Samoa have only gone with 2 out of the 3, or 1 out of the 3, in fact, of their co-captains. Penalty to Sri Lanka straight away. Brilliant work in the breakdown from Sinavre. Oh, this is going to be a hard name. Sinaverethrene was the man who was able to get that. I do apologize for some of my pronunciation of these names. Maliko as well, says Ines. And let's go to Manu. Now passed across, a little bit of a handling error, unfortunately, for Hithiarachichi. Or Ravidu, I do see is written on the back of his shirt. But now the scrum will be going the way of Samoa. And also go, Manu. We need this game to win. And yeah, the thing is, whoever wins this game will be facing off against, more than likely, either Kenya or Samoa are actually the only side who can go through, I should mention. But they will either be facing Kenya or Australia in the quarterfinals. Big feed from Samoa. Letufea gets it off the back. Nice run forward up to the halfway line. Now it's a mistake in the breakdown, but luckily for Samoa, they do get themselves the penalty. Motu Opitai now goes off into the hands of Letufea once again. Falaniko cross to, I believe it is Yuna Sione, and he's starting to break his way through the missed tackle there from the Sri Lankan number 2. One more on the outside. Paul Scanlon. It's a foot race, and it will just be won by Paul Scanlon. And Manu Gogo need to win, says Ines Charles. And now it's another try for Samoa. Paul Scanlon gets it. Has scored plenty throughout this tournament. Alongside him, Steve Onisai. And also, it was alongside him, actually, Apilo Maliko, who has scored a lot. Go Samoa, says Shane Adams. And go the Manu, says Hammy in there as well. But nicely done by Paul Scanlon. He does manage to get himself the first try of the match. Pacey down the wing. Unfortunately for him, the number 11, Budhima Naya Yakara Kudachichige wasn't able to stop him. Hopefully that wasn't too bad with the pronunciation. And let's go Samoa, says Brandon. And there as well, Paul Scanlon has scored the first try. The kick wasn't successful, but now 5-0 in favour of Samoa. It's kicked off. Pelo Maleko tries to slap it back, but they say it was a half knock on. Yuna Sione would have been gone. Black Ferns are playing versus South Africa, says Gregor Galway there. And also, yep, Scanlon, well done, says Ines Charles. And there as well. And I should mention there are some big matches of the women's quarterfinals that we will get to see. It will be New Zealand versus Australia. And then alongside that, it is Fiji versus Canada as the other semi-finals. And is it a knockout? This game is not, but whoever wins this will help themselves a little bit more on the table. More than likely, Samoa, they will move up to a nice 8 points out of the possible 9. Or in fact, sorry, 7 points out of the possible 9. And it was very nice, Samish. And there says Brandon, now passing across Sri Lanka, only 10 metres out from their line. Nice run. Unfortunately, just a handling error, and it's a knock-on from Samoa as well. Almost jumped on by Scanlon, but Mathatha was almost able to stop that one. Oh. Okay, it's just kicked into touch, they have said. And Samoa 28, Sri Lanka 5, absolutely, says Ines Charles. And go Samoa, you got this. You have to win. And Sundun, or Sundun, hopefully I've said that correctly. I said go Sri Lanka. And there as well. Now, I have to say it's absolutely awesome seeing Sri Lanka playing in the sevens. I hope we see a lot more of them in the future. This is a backline now. Paul Scanlon will go into the corner, and that is the second try of the match for Samoa now. They will lead 10 points to 0 And a few Samoan supporters in the crowd look like they are loving this one. This is the day session of day number 2. So it is actually the morning session, sorry. And then after this one, in about 6 hours' time, we are going to be starting up our semi-final and quarter-final live streams. And fitness will be the difference, I think, says Drippy. Yeah, exactly right. Sri Lanka, like they mentioned, these guys aren't professional players. They have been put together, and now they get the opportunity to play at the Commonwealth Games. So it's huge. And the fact that they have scored up against New Zealand, the fact that they were pushing England at times, just shows you how much potential Sri Lanka do have. Samoa, they have been looking brilliant ever since Brian Lima, the chiropractor, did take them over. He's turned them into a well-oiled machine. Sri Lanka says Sundan there. And nice work, but stop getting in trouble. And other Sri Lankans looking fast. Any fatty says annoying. No, they're looking in good shape at the moment for Sri Lanka. And they look like they have been working on the fitness throughout this competition as it keeps on arising. That cutout pass, Paul Scanlon looks to the corner and he will get his third. The captain wasn't quite able to stop him there. Surya Bandra, but that is the try for Paul Scanlon. And now Samoa move up to 15. Now they've been missing a few of the kicks, which is something I mentioned in their game up against New Zealand that could be absolutely crucial. And this guy's an idiot, says Asako. I mean, you're probably saying what everyone is thinking, so I appreciate the honesty, but Paul Scanlon, beautifully done, going into the corner and does manage to get himself the hat trick. Very nicely done. 45-7 to Samoa, and yes, Samoa, keep it up, says Shane there. Now, Malani Matavao from the touchline. That one has gone way out to the left, so it will remain at 15 points to 0. But I did mention in that first game for Malani Matavao, his kicking was only 2 from 5. In the second game up against New Zealand, I believe he missed a possible 2 kicks on that one, but now it's not quite taken cleanly. It wasn't 10. So Sri Lanka will get the quick tap on the halfway line. Little chip there. And also, we have the Samoa. I want to time out someone in this chat. Moderate says it was Brandon, but now nice pass across. Another offload. Sri Lanka keeping this ball alive. It's a good driving tackle, though, from Falaniko. And Samoa take the ball back for Pelo Maleko with a nice spin. One more pass. It's out to Paul Scanlon. He's going to get another. He's got 4 in a row. Can they convert? This one's probably the big question here for Samoa. Paul Scanlon doing beautifully. His 4th try of the day. He is the only Samoan player to score the points on the board. He has got all 20. Paul Scanlon 20, Sri Lanka 0. It's the way it's at. Go Sri Lanka. Says KK, I love Samoa. Go, go. Says Alfunga there. Nicely done by Paul Scanlon. And you'd have to say it is not just all credit to Paul Scanlon. His teammates are setting him up beautifully, getting that wide cutout pass going. And every time Scanlon is just running it in, getting himself another try in the process. Very happy with that one, Paul Scanlon. And now it is 20 points to 0. And Scanlon all the way says Enes Charles. And they did miss the kick again. So, like they're saying on the commentary, it is Scanlon 20 points. That's just gone the 10 metres. Now it's an opportunity. This will not be Paul Scanlon scoring. Great chase from Sri Lanka, but not quite enough from Rathwate. And this time it is the number 4, Motu Opitai, who has run it in for the 5th try of the match for Samoa. And yes, Samoa is the best. Says Shane, they're going to be a very tough side to beat. That is for sure. Whoever has them in that quarterfinal, whether it is Australia or whether it is Kenya, it's going to be extremely hard to take them down. We love you, Samoa. We love you, Samoa. And there as well, says Brandon. Brilliant work from Motu Opitai, though. This kick has gone over. And I should actually mention Malani Matavao. I do apologize. He isn't actually the one who was taking the conversions. It was Ifeta Purcell who was going for them initially. I'm that used to seeing Malani Matavao taking them. That was just kind of reflex, but it isn't actually him. Instead, it is Ifeta Purcell who missed the 3. And at the moment, Latufia is sitting 1 from 2. And Motopoto, yep, says Enes Charles. But Samoa, they have been looking prominent, very strong in this first half. And hey, my man, shout out from Texas. And there you go. Hamo boys, says Young there as well. Yeah, they're doing very nicely. Brian Lima looking as concentrated as ever. Sri Lanka, they will be hoping to get some form of points in the second half. And go Samoa, says Alfunga. And also good to see Samoa turn around their game and start winning again, says Hanoi. Yeah, all it's taken is one coach and one young group of players who just wanted a little bit more than everyone else. And the way that Samoa are going, they could take out the gold medal of the Commonwealth Games. I said at the start of the competition, minimum medal for Samoa. They're getting either bronze, silver, or gold. I hope I am right in that because they are certainly a nation who deserve it the way that they have been playing as of late. And you all play well. Ice cream after, says Enes Charles. And then I'm sure they will definitely accept that ice cream if it's available. But now Sri Lanka in the huddle. They will be fired up for the second half to see what they can do. Kiwi Lads, the best commentator, says Drippy. Do appreciate that a lot, mate. Anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Also, if you do want to help support us, we have got the channel membership, which is that pinned comment where you can find yourself some exclusive emojis that we do have for the channel as well. But now, just about to kick off for their second half. I would say that Ifeda Purcell, he will definitely not get the kicking tee in the second half with the way that he went in the first, but couple of those big men off the bench, maybe they give Valvasa Afasua a chance. That one has not gone 10 for Ifeda Purcell, but Sri Lanka decide to play it anyway, which does now mean that they will have an attacking chance. It is Ashan Ratwate, ball on the outside to the number 11. Nice bit of skill there to be able to hang on to it. Offload found, and now it's the captain. Passing back across Sri Lanka, just trying to get a little bit of the handling. It's a brilliant bit of work from Opitai, Apelo Maleko, everyone hanging on to it. And now Apelo Maleko being able to steal it in the rolling maul. Possession back on the side of Samoa. Derek has said, great commentary. Thank you very much, mate. And also goes Samoa. And there's says Alfunga, nice cutout pass. Charging now down the wing. It will be the 4-try scorer, Paul Scanlon. He's being tackled. Gets back up to his feet. And that one will just go into touch. Only just, though. It was almost the opportunity for Falaniko. And so it's 5:30 a.m. here in Texas. And also, can't you show us the match, says Scoopy? It's a good question. And the reason behind it is, unfortunately, licensing. Any match footage or audio gets you taken straight off YouTube. But I can recommend, depending on what country you're in, you have got certain options where you can watch these games for free. So I do recommend checking out the Birmingham website to be able to find out exactly where you can watch it. But yeah, it's due to licensing. Pretty much we get copyright struck for 3 months. We aren't allowed to live stream. So that is why we aren't able to show it. Nice run forward from Ashan Ratwate. Once again, it now becomes a penalty to Samoa, though. Sione now running at the line. He will not be stopped. And Sione goes in for another try for the Samoans. Maleko straight up through, or straight through, yep, says NS. And I was like, okay, thanks. Okay, bro, thanks. Yeah, it is a good question, though, because at the end of the day, if there was any way we could show it, I would definitely be showing you guys every second of the action. But yeah, sadly, they are very strict. Like, we have had live streams before that we've been copyright struck by the big broadcasters when we haven't even shown any footage, and they have taken us down just instantly. And then there is a long process of getting it back. Go to Manu, and there as well. And also, there you go. Manu says Alfunga, and go Samoa. And there as well. And also, congrats to Sri Lanka, says Nathan. Exactly right. They have done brilliantly throughout their games. And yes, you could say that the scoreline isn't very flattering for the Sri Lankans, but they aren't even a professional Sevens side. So the fact that they've come into this competition, they've scored in every game other than this one, and they will be hoping to get themselves one here as well. 5 meters out from their own line now for Sri Lanka. Nice bit of stepping from Hapito Jaj. Now getting close to their own line now. Sri Lanka trying to push hard. Chadandras just end up dropping it, unfortunately. It does roll into touch for Pilo Maliko. Looked like he was considering going quick. Sri Lanka too good, says Laufili. And Manu, do your thing. Yep. Here's NS Charles. And great to see them out there, Sri Lanka, says Nathan. Exactly right. I'm actually going to have a quick look at my phone and see whether or not they are taking part in the Challenger Series that is coming up relatively soon. And also had a good start against New Zealand too, Sri Lanka. They certainly did. And for me, they still had try of the match for the way that they played there. They were absolutely sensational in that one try when it was the grubber in behind. And it was scored 1-0. We are just looking through, trying to find the stat that I had for the Challenger Series that was coming up relatively soon. Because I know that there are a few sides that are in there, such as, there it is, Sri Lanka are not in the Challenger Series, unfortunately, but I hope that they do get an opportunity in the future with the way that they have been playing. Go Samoa, says Calamity there, and go Pacific Island team, Fiji, Samoa, and New Zealand. Just checked. Samoa and Tough Ball D next year, England, Argentina, and Japan, says Hanoi. But yeah, it will be very interesting. See how the World Cup does end up going for them. I like the fact that Samoa won the Pacific Nations Cup, though. They seem like they're really starting to find their feet in union as well. Go Manu specifically, or especially, sorry, to someone in my village in Samoa, says Shane there. Now, nice offload. Sri Lanka are in their own in-goal area, and now because of it, it's been taken back, and it will now be a scrum feed for Samoa. And Sri Lanka did great against England, says it was a Hiru. Hopefully I've said that correctly, and you are 100% correct. Like, Sri Lanka were brilliant in all of their games, really. This game, they've been a little bit out-muscled by Samoa, but up against New Zealand, there was not one time in that game that I felt like Sri Lanka weren't giving it 110%. And that is something you love to see from these smaller nations, the ones who want it and just keep on pushing. And yeah, up against England, they were right in that contest for a majority of that game. And then it was just those last little moments, the fitness started kicking in, and then England started getting a few more points on the board. But I hope we see more of Sri Lanka in the near future in the Sevens, because it has been impressive what we've been able to see now on the outside. Owen Nui going for the corner. He does get the try for the Samoans, although they want to check this one just to see whether or not it is still in the field of play. And thanks for the video. So says Young and Vamos Sri Lanka says it was Nisme. There as well. Reminds me I need to buy paint or polyfiller tomorrow, says Anoi. And yeah, Bunnings EBC coming back this weekend. Same with the Rugby Championship. And a lot of Samoans in here. Says PJ, we certainly do have quite the following from Samoa, and I appreciate every single one of you for being here. And India good at sevens. Here's Nathan. And the try is awarded. Samoa get themselves another, still 3 minutes left in this matchup. So time for Samoa to be able to get themselves a couple more tries if they do get it right. Whereas Sri Lanka, I still say it like I did at the start. I want to see them get one try in this game. Like, that's the thing. To put it into perspective, Jamaica didn't score a single point in their first 3 games. Sri Lanka has scored about 25 points in their first few games. So that just shows you how strong Sri Lanka could be if they keep on developing the way that they have been. Speaking of those smaller nations, Tonga, they will be playing up against Malaysia in the next game. That will be an intriguing one. See how they do end up going. But Sri Lanka, once again, is going to be Hapadojaj, who does go forward. I think I might pronounce that slightly wrong, unfortunately, so I do apologize for that. Chandandras runs a hard ball on the inside, almost set up his teammate for failure there. Danjé was hit hard in the tackle. Hanging on to this ball at the back. It's available once again. A lot of pressure on Sri Lanka. They've been stuck inside of their in-goal area or inside of their 22 for quite some time. But now Danjé down the wing. Looks for the offload. It is a slight knock on though there. And Samoa will once again have themselves a scrum. Congratulations, Manu. And then from Sri Lanka, I would like to say rugby is a very vibrant sport over here and does have a big following. We have one of the oldest schools rugby fixtures in the world. Big All Blacks following too, says Saren. So yeah, it's absolutely awesome to see them get the opportunity, not just in the men's, but also in the women's for this competition. And one day we might see Sri Lanka make it to a Rugby Union World Cup. And also, are they in the Men's Rugby World Cup? Not too sure. I know that all of the teams are confirmed. I don't know whether or not Sri Lanka are one of those sides who have made it in, though, unfortunately. But there is still time in the future. I can see them certainly making their way in. And Sri Lanka has good surf, apparently, says Anoi, and need more tries, Manu. And they're from Salafina. Now it's a penalty, Sri Lanka in the breakdown. The halfway line, taking the quick tap. And no match, sorry, Sri Lanka. Says NS Charles. And also, so by the looks of it, is Samoa versus Australia in the quarterfinals or nah? Says PJ. It does seem very likely at this point in time. As long as New Zealand beat England, that will be the way that it does sit. GC has got Sri Lanka there, and GG says baby Fuego in there as well. Sri Lanka moving just outside of the 22 now. Another good attack and play. Can they break through that Samoan defense with a minute left on the clock? Good running sideways from Danjé. Finds the offload. Goes up in the air with the wide cutout pass from Sri Lanka. Nice backline. Starting to open up here. And tell you what, that number 2 looks like a star for Sri Lanka the way he's been playing, and he deserves a try. And he might be able to get there. It's the sling and pass on the inside for Sri Lanka getting close. Nigel Ratwate does get it back across Sri Lanka now. Continuing to attack. Brilliant hands there. Finds the offload on the outside. Getting close. But can they get over? One more chance. Nice seller, the dummy. Offload on the inside for Sri Lanka. 5 meters out. Finds the offload. It's been dropped, though, for Sri Lanka. Unfortunately, the crowd were all behind them. But Sina Ratne just not quite able to hang on to, I believe you, when you tackle those Indian boys. And thank you for the video, says GC. No worries at all. We will be covering plenty more of the Sevens, ladies and gentlemen, later on, including the next match that has taken place between Tonga and Malaysia. Love the commentator, says it is Charles. And they do appreciate that a lot. Man, the crowd just dropped their hearts when they saw that ball go down for Chathura Sina Thrathane. He dropped his head as well. Unfortunately, so close. And how do you just, how you doing? Just want to know, or want who the Blitzboks are playing next if they are playing, says Brendan. So the next game is up against Scotland, and that will be kicking off in about 40 minutes' time. We will be doing the commentary for that matchup as well. And then after that, they will be facing off against either, I believe it will either be, I think it will either be, who have they got? There's one group that I'm forgetting in the sevens. That's a brilliant run from Steve Onesai, and he's going to pick it up beautifully and does score the last try of the match. And what's up, Hamish? On the source, I think I'm officially a Kiwi Lads fan bot. He's Distracted Sports in there, so welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing well. Oh, speaking of bots, we have got one right there on cue. Is that also you, maybe? Distracted Sports. It was kicked in behind. It was a nice one from Falaniko. The ball set up, and then Scanlon, with all of the pace in the world, is able to clean it up. And also we've got the well-done boys for Amalo in there as well, says NS Charles. So the next game for Samoa will be taking place in the early hours of the morning. We will be covering it on the channel, I believe, about 7:20 a.m. New Zealand time, roughly. But that is the end of the game for Sri Lanka and Samoa. But once again, well played indeed. We have got wins. England's game, says Jack. They are going to be playing up against... they have actually got New Zealand right now. We are just about to transfer over. So, ladies and gentlemen, we will be back in just a short moment for that next match. We will see you all for the next